Hi guys, this is Christy Lois from Dostoevsky in Space. Welcome to my channel. This is my first vlog in a while, but it's an important one because it's for Flannery O January. Today is the first day of Flannery O January, which is a read along that I'm doing with Victoria Musical Bookworm and Noah from Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse. We all have a couple challenges that we are doing. My challenge is to read The Habit of Being, the letters of Flannery O'Connor. Noah is reading her second book, The Violent Buried Away. Victoria is reading one of the short story collections, A Good Man is Hard to Find. Excellent challenges for all of us, and also Happy New Year. So it's January 1st, 2022. I'm very excited. I've read about 30 pages in The Habit of Being. So I have a feeling that reading this collection of letters, I already know a lot of the basic facts about Flannery O'Connor's life. I've read so much of her writing, and she didn't leave a lot, but I feel like I'm definitely learning more of who she is. She's very polite in these letters. It starts with a letter that she's sending to her literary agent, and she's got her first novel on submission, so she's very young. I don't know exactly how young, but it's before her first attack of lupus, which would eventually take her life at age 39. She lived most of her life in Georgia. It doesn't start when she's in Georgia. It starts when she's still traveling around, going to New York, trying to hook publishers and stuff. She just has such a sense of humor. I've already put some quotes on Instagram that I just love from her. I don't want to do too long of a vlog, so this will be really just the highlights. I'm excited. Here we go. I'm getting so many book recommendations from her that I've decided I would like to vlog reading like Flannery. So I'm gonna read some of her recommendations. I only have 2 of them picked out, but I have some other ideas and I'll let you know. I'm gonna keep reading the letters as I read her recommendations. However, the first one that I'm going to be reading, because I've already started it, is The Secret Agent by Conrad. Is it Joseph Conrad? Anyway, she said she's read everything just about that he's written by now, which means she must really like him. And she's like, I just read his style in the hopes that it will rub off on me somehow. She's so modest. So far, it's following some anarchists in London. I don't know the exact year. I'll let you know. It'd be like right here. Who don't seem to really know what they're doing. They seem to be kind of full of talk. It seems very much like a Flannery story in that sense, that it's not going to end happily and these people are going to get what's coming to them. Like, none of them are admirable characters at all. I would also like to work on The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky, because if I can, I'd like to read that in January, February, and March. I don't know if I'll finish the whole thing, but that was, along with Moby Dick, in a stack of books that she had received, and her mom was like, of course you would get a book called Idiot. It just cracked me up because that's something Kevin would tell me. I'm looking forward to maybe reading about a third of that this month. I started that last night. So far, I'm very, very interested. I'm interested in the characters. Prince Mushkin. I really just like his character so far. I'm not very far, but I think his character is very interesting. It starts off with him in a train and others are treating him badly and he doesn't even really realize it. Like, he seems kind of not to realize when other people are insincere. So he just kind of takes people at their word. I think it's based on like the holy fool in Russian literature, and I'm interested to see what happens. Check out this fog. It's very, very foggy here today. You can't even see the lake. Like, I would show you, but you wouldn't see anything. It would just be fog. Hey there guys, it is now January 29th and I'm about to go into our live show with Noah and Victoria and Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia. I'm so excited. So I just took some notes on the letters of Flannery O'Connor because we're going to be probably all talking about whatever we read and hopefully what you guys read. Hopefully you'll be there with us. I might have to finish up once we have finished with our live stream. We're starting in like 5 minutes. I wanted to get it started because I have to go to dinner tonight. So obviously halfway through this vlog, I sort of changed concepts a little bit and I went from just purely reading The Habit of Being to reading other things that were inspired by reading The Habit of Being. But I'll start off with The Habit of Being because obviously that is the inspiration here. I got to page 119 in The Habit of Being. I loved every page of it. It was so good. I can't wait to keep reading, honestly, because look how many flags I have in just 119 pages. It's so worthwhile, so well worth reading. I loved it. Just tons of book recommendations, just a plethora of quotes, good thoughts in here, lots of context for her stories. I didn't really expect it to be telling the story of her life. Sally Fitzgerald was a friend of hers. She's the one who edited this together, and a lot of the letters in here are to Sally and her husband, who I'm not sure if both of them were writers, but her husband translated some of the work that I really wanted to get to, like the Aeneid. But she did a fantastic job giving us like the context around these letters. A lot of them are letters like to her publisher or editor, explaining some of her work, her thoughts on her work, some of her favorites among her work, stuff like that. And other letters were very personal. She has her wry, kind of self-effacing humor. Pride shows up a lot in her stories. As we've talked a little bit about this in the Discord and with Tiffany, with her short stories. She did a great video, by the way. Definitely, I didn't really mention it earlier, but Tiffany joined us as a co-host for Flannery O'Connor. She ranked the stories in a different collection than Victoria did. Victoria also did a ranking video for a different collection. Victoria did Good Man is Hard to Find, and then I forget what the title story of Tiffany's was. I don't remember what all the collections are called, but it's the one that has The Lame Shall Enter First, so I think it's the last short story collection. Anyways, those are both great videos. You should definitely check them out. So if you're at all confused about her stories, I highly recommend picking this up, or her prayer journal, or Mystery and Manners, which is like a series of lectures and stuff that she gave. All of them will give you more context for her stories, and I think you'll really enjoy them. They're really easy to read. They're funny to read. She's just a great speaker and writer. I highly recommend these, like, so much. I put so many quotes as well on Instagram. I actually have like a series of highlights that I put on my Instagram. I'll put them right here for you so you can see them. And they're titled Flannery. If you feel like you missed some of what I thought about The Habit of Being, please check that out. I have quotes as well from her prayer journal and from Mystery and Manners on my Instagram in that highlights reel. And I also read several quotes from this in The River. But just so that I can give you one of my favorite quotes, I just thought I would share that. There is certainly no reason why the effects of redemption must be plain to us, and I think they usually are not. This is where we share Christ's agony, when he was about to die and cried out, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" I think that really speaks to the amount of suffering that she probably went through, and she dealt with a lot of this internally, like why she's suffering and how she felt about it and how she talked to God about it. Why is everything going off all at once? Fantastic. I loved it. So in one of the books that I picked up, because Flannery mentioned it in this book, she just gave me such a hankering to pick it up. Not that I didn't already have it, because let's be real, Dostoevsky. I always have a hankering to read Dostoevsky. I just find him so entertaining and vital, and it's like he really inhabits a moment in time and just shares all of the intellectual currents of that time, and especially like he'll really tackle one intellectual current with every book, and I love that. Whereas like with Tolstoy, which I also have War and Peace in here. I read both of these, not all of them obviously, but parts of both of them this month. I have literary discourse read-alongs coming up for both of these. This is coming up in February and March, and we'll be with Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative and Una Crypto from the Codex Cantina, and Pei is going to join us for the intro stream as well. And then we're going to have War and Peace like in April, I think. And that will be with Hannah from Hannah's Books. And I think Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia is going to join us for that. And that will be with Una and Crypto. So yay, more Russian this year. So anyways, whereas Tolstoy, he really tackles everybody's heads, kind of where they're at. There's one character who's really into, I forget what it's called. I'll put it right here what it's called exactly. But he's really into that. And then we have the young, beautiful girl who's trying to deal with her own issues, falling in love and what that means. Every character has their own kind of worldview that they're dealing with, and it's very expansive. It's harder to get to know the characters, I think, in a Tolstoy work, in my opinion. It's not that you don't get to know them as well. It's just, it's kind of slow and meandering and sort of rambling. Whereas Dostoevsky just feels more modern. Tolstoy, you get all the backstory that you could possibly need. Whereas in The Idiot, Dostoevsky just dumps you right in medias res. It's very modern in that sense. I'm enjoying it so much. I just find Dostoevsky like so entertaining. High entertainment value, very difficult to predict. It's about Prince Mishkin, who
is, I guess you would call him a holy fool from the Russian tradition. And what that means is he's a person with mental disabilities. I mean, he seems like he's a pretty smart guy, but he does like St. Vitus's dance, which I think is like seizures. So he probably has some kind of epilepsy, and he's just like very pure and innocent and naive. So I don't know if he's actually has any mental disabilities, but people seem to think that about him. And so they treat him like that. He just doesn't understand the evil of the world and how it can be. He just can't relate to that at all. It's really, I love it. I love it so much. I can't wait to keep going. And I'm going to keep going. It's like a Russian soap opera. The situation he gets dumped into, and he just does not understand what's going on with these people. Like, why can't they just be pure like him and like the children? He loves children. He gets along so with children. It's great. I highly recommend it. Please join us for that readathon. Our live stream might have already happened, and if it has, I'll link it up here for you, but please join us for this readathon, and I'll have the Literary Discourse Discord linked down below. What Flannery likes about it, I don't quite know, but it might have something to do with the ending. I'll cover Gogol next, but I have to go now. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
3 hours later.
We're back. That was a great live show. I meant to get some footage of us talking like backstage or something, and I completely forgot. But please go check it out. I will link it up here. It was a great live. Moving on, back to what we were talking about, Dead Souls. I took out all of my notes, even though I own this copy. I don't know why I did that. What possessed me to denote my own book? This really gave Flannery vibes to me. I think it's because it's very satirical. The lead protagonist, Chichikov, he's like such a stereotype, caricature type character of a Russian of his own status and in his own time. I can't even really describe it off the top. It's kind of hard to describe without like instantly spoiling it, but it's so satirical and very much so reminds me of Flannery. If you're a fan of Flannery, I recommend it. And I am not like someone who would normally like Flannery type stories because she loves things like Madame Bovary. Look at this beautiful copy from my English teacher in high school. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. I had a really hard time reading this. I think it'd probably be really beautiful in French, but like I didn't empathize with the main character at all, which some people seem to. Where Flannery was kind of like, yeah, she got what was coming to her. I don't really enjoy reading stories like that, but this one I really enjoyed. It's not quite like Madame Bovary. It's very satirical. She said that she liked Tolstoy, but Gogol was necessary along with the light, or something like that. She was a big Gogol fan. If you want to hear some of my thoughts on Dead Souls, I actually did do a live stream shortly after reading it with the Codex Cantina and Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative, and I'll link it up here. It was really fun. Highly recommended. And Stephanie from Miss Richards Read. And then also she loved The Catcher in the Rye as well. So these are all very Flannery type books. She just said she spent the whole day reading it and read it in one sitting. I also did not really enjoy The Catcher in the Rye when I read it in high school, but maybe I'm a slightly more discerning reader now. I don't know. The last book I want to talk to you about is The Secret Agent by Joseph Conrad. I am loving this. I'm not finished with it because I just don't finish things very quickly because I have to read them at bedtime, and if I get too interested in them, I have to set them down for something that I can sleep to. This one actually was continually putting me to sleep. I couldn't focus on it, so I would start reading it and then I'd be like, all right, time for bed. But not because it's not good. I actually think this is great. This is also extremely satirical of anarchism. So while Dead Souls, we're following this guy Chichikov around who's basically trying to make money off of the dead serfs who are actually dead, but they're still counted as souls. He figured out a scheme to get rich based off of that. Like he gets people to sell their dead souls to him so they don't have to pay taxes anymore on their serfs, but he gets to like have all the prestige of owning many serfs, you know? So everybody assumes he must have this beautiful land, you know, with all these serfs on it, and they just give him this prestige, and it's ridiculous. Now, The Secret Agent, it's about a group of anarchists who are actually super lazy, not very bright, and I think that their characterization is great. It's funny oftentimes. It describes the main guy like this. But there was also about him an indescribable air, which no mechanic could have acquired in the practice of his handicraft, however dishonestly exercised. The air common to men who live on the vices, the follies, and the baser fears of mankind. The air of moral nihilism, common to keepers of gambling hells and disorderly houses, to private detectives and inquiry agents, to drink sellers, and, I should say, to the sellers of invigorating electric belts, and to the inventors of patent medicines. Burn!
Burn! Burn! Burn! Burn! Burn!
There's another great quote in here too that I wanted to read. It's talking about the same guy again. His name is Mr. Verloc. He runs this real shady store to make his living while he dreams of being a secret agent of anarchy, I guess. And Mr. Verloc, temperamentally identical with his associates, drew fine distinctions in his minds on the strength of insignificant differences. Like his friends, he doesn't actually have any respect for his friends, but he's like, but I'm different for these reasons, when he's really not different. It's a great book so far. I just need to get further into it. Just like with The Idiot, I'm not listening to it on audiobook separately from the reading. I really want you to read and catch every word, and I'm really enjoying them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing why Flannery O'Connor, she's like, I read everything of him that I can get my hands on. She's like, I think I've read like almost everything he's published by now. So she's a big fan. And she's a big fan of Dostoevsky as well. Well, that is it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed Flannery O January as much as I did. And my co-host, thank you so much to my co-host. Thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody who read along. Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative, Penny from Cat Lady Book Nook, everybody, you guys are the best. I just really enjoyed this. Let me know down below what you read for Flannery O January, or if you have read any Flannery at all. Let me know down below your thoughts. If you are wanting to read like Flannery, you can check out my short that I did, which talks about all the books that she recommends. There's a lot. There's a whole bunch more too in The Habit of Being. I highly recommend reading it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.